Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's webinar. Tonight, we're going to take you through some really exciting information. I know some of you might not think compliance is exciting, but to us it is. And we're going to be talking to you about product claims and what you can do. In particular, we're going to talk about the oils that were just released, the wellness oils that were released. Thank you, Artemis, last week. She did a wonderful job of announcing those. And we're going to talk to you about how you can compliantly promote those products, because it's really important that you understand that these are different to the normal way to being able to promote our essential oils. So my name is Stephen Sade. I'm the Director of Corporate Affairs here at Young Living. And with me is Samantha Wood, the Compliance and Regulatory Coordinator. Sam, how are you tonight?
I'm great, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so let's move on. Hopefully my clicker will work. It's not working. Okay, there we go. Okay, excellent. So Young Living have quite a few products now that are listed with the TGA. In fact, we have 23 all up, and they include our Wellness Essential Oil range, they include supplements, and they include our sunscreen. Now, these products are, like I said, listed with the TGA, and they come with particular guidelines as to how you can promote them. This range is very important to the way that we're going to function as a company. And I just want to say that as we're doing these oils, listing them with the TGA, it doesn't take away the others. In fact, it's going to complement the same oils that we already have. So let's get into it. So Sam, would you like to tell us more about the Therapeutic Goods Advertising Code?
Certainly. So the Therapeutic Goods Advertising Code, which is also known as the TGAC for short, is a document that outlines the requirements that advertisers must meet when they're sharing a complementary medicine. Now, this includes distributors who must follow this. So both corporate Young Living and distributors must follow the code. Now, it must be followed at all times when sharing a complementary medicine. So this includes if you're speaking face-to-face, one-on-one, in a group, if you're online, on social media, making videos, webinars, on your website, anything like that. So anywhere you might be creating content for a complementary medicine, or if you're speaking about it or sharing it, then you need to follow the advertising code. Now, one thing just to be mindful of is that the TGAC does not apply in New Zealand. So separate content should be created for New Zealand that does not contain therapeutic claims. Now, the TGA regulates medicines in 3 different types of categories. They're complementary medicines, over-the-counter, or prescription. Now, all of our listed products are complementary medicines, which means that they are considered to be lower risk. You'll see on the front of Young Living's TGA listed products the words OST-L followed by some numbers. This indicates that a product is listed. So the L is for listed with the TGA. Becoming a listed product is a self-assessed process. Young Living has determined that our products meet the TGA's various requirements to list the product as a complementary medicine. Now, you may see some products out in the market that have an OST-LA number on the front of the label. LA stands for listed assessed, which is a step up from the OST-L. And then the next one up from OST-LA is OST-R, which is registered. And you'll find that most prescription medicines carry an OST-R number as they are registered with the TGA. Now, OST-LA and OST-R products go through a pre-market assessment by the TGA before they're able to be sold. This is because registered and assessed products are perceived to be a higher risk medicine. Okay, so if you are speaking about a complementary medicine, we ask that you don't refer to it as a TGA product, TGA approved, TGA registered, or TGA assessed, or any kind of variation like that, as it can imply that our products are endorsed by the TGA or that it is a different category of medicine, as we saw on the previous slide. When sharing a complementary medicine, it's best to just call it a complementary medicine or use the product's name. We ask that you avoid including the words TGA or therapeutic goods administration.
Okay, so what we don't want to do is we don't want to confuse everybody, and that is a lot of compliance speak, a lot of regulatory speak, but really what we want to do is just take the time now to help you understand really the basic difference between what we can and can't say, between the different oils and so forth. But to try and simplify it, because you don't need to worry too much about, you know, the differences in Ostel A's and R's and so forth. What we really want you to do is just follow our guidelines as to how to best promote these oils. You won't go astray then. If you just follow our guidelines, you'll be fine. So I want to take you through understanding the regulatory difference between these oils. The oil that we have just listed, we call the range of wellness oils, and we still have, as I said before, our range of peppermint oil, our range of normal oils, let's call it. This doesn't change. We still carry both oils. And yes, let's be open and honest about it. It's exactly the same oil in this bottle as it is in the normal peppermint or in the normal frankincense or lavender or whatever. The difference is in the labeling and how you can promote them. Now, we have to be very, very careful. So you'll see on the screen there, we've got a picture of the normal peppermint oil, the one we've had for many, many years. And you can use it, you know, directions for use are topical, aromatic, or in food flavoring. And you can make the cosmetic claim that cooling sensation, energizing, uplifting scent, and you can add it to food. That is fine for that oil. For the wellness oils, for the oils that were just announced, just released recently, you need to be very careful about how you promote them. So yes, we have directions on the ARTG. We've listed that with directions, be it topical, aromatic, inhalation. And you can also use the claims like traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve symptoms of indigestion. But that is for this oil. You cannot start saying, well, let's get this oil and promote it for culinary purposes, for example. You also can't use this oil to promote it for cosmetic purposes. The cosmetic oil and the culinary oil must be used, and therefore so this one when you come to therapeutic claims. So Sam, can you give us some examples of what are therapeutic claims, what we can say?
Yes, so if you have your bottle of lavender wellness oil, you can make a claim that it is traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve a toothache. However, if you have a purple labelled bottle of lavender, you should not say that you add it to your moisturiser to reduce mild joint aches and pains, as firstly, you're not promoting the correct product, and secondly, you're not making the claim in the correct way.
Okay, so what about cosmetic claims? What sort of cosmetic claims can we make?
Now, you'll see some examples of some cosmetic claims here. If you've got your cosmetic labelled sacred sandalwood, you can say that you apply it topically to enhance the appearance of healthy looking skin. If you have your white labelled sacred sandalwood, the wellness oil, then you should not say that you add it to your daily skincare regime to reduce the appearance of fine lines, as that is a cosmetic claim and cosmetic use.
Okay, so give me an example of a current culinary use.
A culinary use would be if you had your yellow labelled bottle of lemon oil. So you've got your culinary oil and you add it to your baked goods to add a great citrus flavour to it. What you should avoid doing is showing your white labelled lemon oil or your wellness oil and saying that you add it to your Ningxia red to relieve nausea. There's two reasons why you shouldn't do that, and that is because we shouldn't be ingesting our wellness oil range, and the other reason is because you're not using that claim properly.
And I think that's really important, that these oils are not listed with the TGA to be taken orally. They are just for the for the therapeutic claims that are listed on the ARTG. If you are going to take an oil and you want to put it in a food or a flavouring, stick with the regular oil. Okay, so what should we include when we're sharing a complementary medicine? And I did say before that this is a little bit more complicated, but this, if you follow this path, we won't go astray. So when you're talking about, when you're sharing or when you're promoting a complementary medicine, you need to make sure you have the full name of the product. So always talk about it. For example, in this one is Orange Wellness Essential Oil. You also need to promote or talk about the dosage form. Is it inhalation, topical, and so forth, as for what that oil is listed for. You list the size of the bottle, how much oil is actually in this bottle. You must stick with the approved claims. Traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve symptoms of mild anxiety. And we'll go more into about those claims in a minute, but you must stick with what it is listed for. You have to add the active ingredient, which in orange, for example, will be the orange peel. And you must also include the warnings and statements that are on the label. So always read the label, follow the directions for use, not to be taken. If symptoms persist, talk to your health professional. It is vital that when you're promoting these oils, or any supplement, for example, that you stick with this order in which to do things. I would ask that if you think this is all too complicated, then probably best if you don't promote these oils, because this really has to be done. And this is the way TGA want it to be done. Sam, can you take us through what I'm going to do right now is we're going to take you through a product claim page. So the product claim page talks about the claims, it talks about what you can and can't say for the labeling and the directions and so forth. So Sam, can you take us through the product claim pages?
So the product claim pages, or the PCPs, are these documents that we've put together for each of our complementary medicines. You'll find these in your virtual office, in member resources. So we're just going to go through the page, kind of break it down to show you how you can use it to share a complementary medicine. So we're using cedarwood oil here as an example. So if we start at the top of the page, you've got all of your permitted claims for this product. So you can choose the claim or claims that you want to share, and then you can formulate it into a simple sentence. Just be mindful not to change the meaning of the claim. So for example, you could say cedarwood is traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve feelings of weakness. Avoid elaborating on a claim or relating it to something else. You need to share it as it appears. An example of elaborating it to something else would be cedarwood is traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve weariness, which is great if you have insomnia, as we've just related it to insomnia. Where there are multiple words divided by a /, for example, maintain or support, you can choose either word to use. If the word mild is used in a claim, then it is important that you include that word. And then if a claim includes a tradition of use or a specifying qualifier, this must be included. For example, traditionally used in aromatherapy, which all of our oils have at the start of their claims, so you need to include that. In adults is another one, and you'll find that Life9 and Amigagize have this qualifier. And some products might also have a time of use, such as after eating. Next, we'll move down to the product representation requirements. So this just kind of outlines what you shouldn't be saying or presenting in your advertisement. So you want to look here to ensure that your overall wording and the way that you are presenting the product aligns with the product presentation guidelines. For example, if you were to say, cedarwood is traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve a cough, which is great for pneumonia. You'll see here on the second dot point that we were not supposed to imply or refer to a serious form of a respiratory disease, which we did by mentioning pneumonia. So that would be non-compliant. After that, we've come to the actives, dosage, and directions. Now, these are just helpful bits of information to help you fulfill your requirements in the checklist that Stephen outlined. Now, just with the actives, it is important that you don't individually promote an active with benefits. That will be more of a thing for the supplements, as they can have multiple active ingredients. You need to promote the product as a whole with the claims and not link the claims to the active ingredients. You'll also see all of the dosage information. and then the directions for use. And it's important that we present the product in accordance with its directions for use and not to deviate from that. Lastly are your statements that need to be included. And you'll see here you've got the always read the label, follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, consult your healthcare professional. So you can just copy and paste that from each product claim page and add that into whatever you're creating.
Okay, and just to go a little bit off script here, I just want to actually add, sorry about this, Sam, I'm going to go off script. I just want to add that it's really important that you stick with the claims that are made on our product pages. I know if you go onto Google and so forth, you'll probably find a whole bunch of others, and people have been using those since day dot, but we can't use them. And I'd ask you not to use them, and please just stick with the claims that we present on these pages. Google is not a reference that the TGA refer to. Okay, so I want to talk about making comparisons with our products or with any supplement. Always avoid directly or indirectly comparing a complementary medicine with a competing product. This includes mentioning the product or the brand or referencing the group of products that includes. We must also avoid making claims that a competing product may be harmful or ineffectual. As I said before, we're moving into an area that is a little bit more complicated, and it's really important that we're seen by the regulatory bodies to be doing the right thing. So for an example, Young Living uses naturally derived ingredients in their complementary medicine, unlike other brands who use synthetic ingredients. We can't be saying that. We might think that's right and we might believe it, but we actually can't promote it and we can't be saying those sort of things. And it's the same with food comparisons. Vitamin and mineral supplements, for example, are designed to make to complement a healthy lifestyle. We can't be saying that if you take that, then you don't need your food. So when promoting a vitamin or mineral, don't suggest that the taking of these supplements, be it sulfazyme, BLM, any of those, can replace a healthy diet. Okay, we should not claim or imply that supplements are a great substitute for good nutrition or a balanced diet, or in any way superior or more beneficial than dietary nutrition. So we just need to be really careful about how we promote that. So Sam, we talk often, and we have talked before about testimonies and endorsements about what the TGA will allow us to say on these things. And I know there's been changes recently to the code. Can you just tell everyone what this is about?
So when sharing a Young Living complementary medicine, the TGA has determined that testimonies should not be used, as what you say about the product has the potential to impact the consumer's decision. And as a distributor, you have a financial interest in the outcome of someone purchasing the product. So a testimony is a statement that is written or spoken made by someone who has used a complementary medicine. Instead, we can share the product by endorsing it. Endorsements are statements written or spoken and can include images that support or encourage the use of a complementary medicine. Below are some examples of some endorsements that could be used. This product can relieve symptoms of heartburn. I recommend this product. It's traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve the symptoms of an insect bite.
So those sort of things that Sam just said that you can say. If you have any questions about any of this, please email us, but we're going to come to that later. But when we're talking about endorsements versus testimony, we can say, I recommend ginger wellness. It's traditionally used in aromatherapy to relieve symptoms of travel sickness. What we can't say is, I use ginger wellness when I have a cold as it relieves the severity of the symptoms. It's the I statement. In that case, that will get us into a bit of trouble.
Now, some other claims that we should avoid. You can see a list of them on the screen. Now, we shouldn't be making these claims at all for any of our products, but the TGA has determined that claims of these types, when related to a complementary medicine, are extremely high risk and carry very high penalties. So we do ask that you do a quick sweep of any material that you've created or shared, regardless of what product it's for. And if you have mentioned anything that you see on the screen, that you just make a quick change to it and to remove it. Stephen?
Thank you. Okay, and we do go over time. We will send out education letters to people about, you know, maybe changing around their social media a bit and not suggesting certain things. One of the issues that come up more recently, and probably particularly because of COVID, is public health claims. We understand that people have a differing view on public health campaigns, but when sharing Young Living complementary medicines, we are unable to let our personal views influence us. We must remain consistent. You'll notice here that, let me take an example, SunSmart. For years and years, we've had slip, slop and slap. We can't be promoting our sunscreen to avoid wearing a hat and saying, oh, you don't need it, you just need our sunscreen. You know, you don't need to worry about that SunSmart campaign. We cannot be doing that. We must be making sure that we fall in line with these public health campaigns, regardless of our personal views. A recent example of an advertisement contradicting current public health campaign are cold and flu medicines being allowed to promote people going about their daily lives, soldiering on, so to speak. This is not consistent with the current stay at home when sick campaign due to coronavirus. So we always, and we ask you as well, to make sure that you stick with the public health campaigns, regardless of how you feel about some of these. Now, I just want to say that there's a lot of resources about this and about other things that we have available to you. If you go to your member resources in Wales Central, there's the sharing guide, there's the product claim pages, there's FAQs, and there's going to be a lot more to come. Samantha and I are going to be doing these on a regular basis, and we're going to be trying to build up a library of all these things that you can use to promote your business. Social media, there is social media, there's Facebook, ylconduct.au.nz. Look at that. I mean, there's a lot of information that comes from that. We are going to put up the therapeutic goods advertising code. I probably suggest most people don't try and read it because it is complicated and it is a long document, and I'm sure your eyes will glaze over after about the first page if you get that far. But it is there if you just want to refer to something. If you want to have a look at it, please feel free to have a look at it. And you can always contact the Conduct team on conduct.au@youngliving.com.au. There's many ways to contact us, and please use these resources to be able to promote your business in a better way. So we're going to just take a quick break. If there are any questions that have come through, we're going to just take a quick break, and we'll be back within a minute. We're just going to have a look at those, and don't go away. We will be back.
Okay, thanks for waiting.
So we're back. So we have a question here that says, where in the VO member resources can I find this info? Can I get access to the PowerPoint slides? Please, Sam?
So all of this information will be uploaded to Wales Central. We haven't put it there yet, as the products are yet to be officially launched and made available for sale, but you will find it up there this week, all of the resources and the presentation. The next question that we have is Jen from Jen Gallagher. If you have both bottles, then could you make all the claims? Now, yes, if you did have both the cosmetic labeled and the white labeled product side by side, then you could make the applicable claims for each product, just so long as you keep it clear which product that you're talking about. So
they need to be separated on the page?
Separated on the page, or separated in your discussion. But yes, that could be done.
Okay, so Nicole here is asking, will both oil bottles still be available? Yes. For all the wellness oils that we have, we will always keep the original oil as well, for the purposes that we talked about. In a lot of cases, they're culinary oils, or people just want to make a cosmetic claim. They don't really want to get this far into making therapeutic claims. So yes, we will still have both oils we'll be carrying in our stock.
Mm-hmm. We've got another question here about testimonies and endorsements. Is that new for wellness oils, or has it always been a thing? Now, it has always been a thing within the TGAC, so it is applicable for all complementary medicines, which includes the wellness oils. However, if you are sharing a cosmetic product or a product that is not listed with the TGA, you are more than welcome to use testimonies to share your product.
Yeah. Someone here is mentioning that this is a little bit more complicated than what they expected it to be, and yes, you're right. We don't hide away from the fact that this is a little bit more complicated, because, like I said, we're getting into areas that are more controlled, more regulatory controlled than what we were ever used to before. But don't be scared by it. There is plenty of information going to be available for it. We're going to be here to answer questions. It'll just become natural. If you just follow what's on the product information pages, stick with the claims, talk about how work out how you're going to best promote these products. It's not going to be overly complicated. I do believe this is going to take this business it's going to be our next step. And I'm so excited about this. I truly am. We've put a lot of work into this, and I think this is going to be the next step for Young Living in Australia, and very exciting.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, you're more than welcome to reach out to us through the conduct.au email address, or Young Living Corporate will be putting out so much material that will already comply with the TGAC. So you're more than welcome to just share that content rather than go to the effort of creating your own. Now we've got another question here about whether we can claim our products are TGA listed, approved, or endorsed. Now, the correct regulatory terminology would be TGA listed, as we are listed complementary medicines. However, we are not approved and we are not endorsed. However, we ask that you don't use the words TGA when referring to these products. Just call it either a complementary medicine or use the product name.
Yeah, it does get a little bit difficult because if we start using terms like TGA listed oils, it does make people think that the TGA endorses them, and like Samantha said earlier, they don't. So let's avoid using the words TGA altogether, and just make life easier. We've got a question here about, are we able to make these claims in New Zealand? Sorry, we aren't. This is particularly for Australia. It doesn't stop people in New Zealand promoting them to their members in Australia, but no, you can't promote them this way in New Zealand. MedSafe have not got this sort of system set up as yet, and we are monitoring almost on a daily basis to what they're doing. We did think about 12 months ago they were going to move to this sort of a setup. They haven't done it yet, and I recently just had a conversation with a specialist about this, and they said no, MedSafe have yet to decide how they're going to go about this. So sorry, this is not for New Zealand.
We've got another question here from Emma asking, you said that it was the same oil in the bottle. For example, peppermint oil is the same as peppermint wellness oil. Are we allowed to tell people that it is the same oil, but the regulations require separate labeling? Yes, you can tell people that. It helps people to understand why we have these two peppermint oils, and it helps people to understand our requirements and responsibilities when sharing these oils, just so long as that you maintain that separation between what the two different products are regulated as.
If we thought it was as easy as just being able to, promote one bottle, we would have done that and saved a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money. But sadly, no, this is the way it has to work. I don't want to hide from the fact that it's the same oil. I don't want anyone promoting this one has some magic ingredient in it that this other one doesn't. But what it is this is the one that needs to be promoted to make a therapeutic claim. It's very, very important that we stick with that. So if you have let's say you have a customer who wants to buy something because you've said, look, this will work for you, make sure that you sell the therapeutic oil, not the normal oil. It's really important that we stick with those. So there's a question here. If we cannot say that the wellness oils are TGA approved, then how do we let people know that we are allowed to make claims that we can now for the wellness oils? Okay, very simple. You can say that they're listed. Okay, you can tell people that these are listed, because on every bottle is the Austell number. That's how you tell the difference between the listed oil and the non-listed oil. We don't have a problem with you telling people they're listed. We just don't want to promote them as TGA oils or TGA listed oils or anything like that. This is a wellness oil range. that we have listed, but we don't, that's not the way we want to promote it.
Yeah,
but always look at the hostel number.
Yes, and you can call them complementary medicines, and you can share the claims, and that will show a differentiation between the cosmetic and culinary oil versus the therapeutic oil, because they have different claims and different ways that you can share it. So people, it will take some time, but people will start to learn the difference.
Yeah. Michelle, you've got a question here. Why TGA listed as good news to customers? Question mark. If it's not TGA endorsed, no product is TGA endorsed. The TGA don't endorse any product. The TGA list, accept a listing, or they accept a registration, but they don't endorse any product. So it's good news because we can make the claims that we could not make before. And when you see the range of claims, you'll be amazed at what sort of claims we can make with these oils. For those of you who were there last week when Artemis announced these and got a look at what the claims were, some of them are phenomenal. Some of them, there's not as many as you would like, but that is because we have to find the evidence to make those claims. One thing about Young Living is we believe in integrity. We're not going to make claims that we don't believe in or that we can't support with scientific evidence. So we want to make sure that it's correct, and we want to make sure it's viable information. But look at the claims. They are phenomenal claims. They truly are. Okay, if we're going to do more, are we?
I think that's
okay, what we might do is we might call it there. Look, there's a lot of thank yous, and thank you for joining us tonight. You know, this is an exciting phase that Young Living Australia is going into. This is not global. Sadly, I'm sure other markets would like it to be, but you know, we are one of only 2 markets in the world in Young Living who have been able to list their products with their regulatory body. And this is really exciting. We have 13 oils there at the moment, and over time we'll have a look at different ones and so forth. But right now, we have the 13. Thank you all for joining us. This has been a fabulous event. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. If you want to contact us about anything, please feel free to join us. Thank you very much.